Well, to be clear, Mancow, cross-species, genetically engineered crops do have sterilants engineered into them. They're pharmacological.
Yeah.
And, you
really think a cucumber at Whole Foods is any different from Safeway or Dominick's or any other store?
If you study... No, they certainly have some stuff that isn't really organic in there, but overall it's better. Yep. And you're right, it is a racket.
They charge you.
Hold on, it is a racket to a certain extent, but it moved us into demanding local and organic, and it's the power of choice. And I think overall, well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Mancow, I'm against the boycott of Whole Foods because the establishment is trying to boycott Rush Limbaugh, boycott Glenn Beck, boycott Whole Foods to punish people's First Amendment, to create a chilling effect. So even though I disagree with a lot of what Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck say, I'm supporting them.
Well, that's right. And, that's what people seem to forget. It's your free speech as long as it's what you like. And it's really gotten frightening. It used to be equal rights, and I'm all for equal rights, but now it's special rights. I have two twin daughters, as you know, 4 years old, and because they're white, and what happens if they get beaten when they're older and they're not lesbians? So there's no. I just don't understand these special laws for people.
Well, it's a new classism. It's a new,
It's so very evil. I mean, a hate crime. Well, every time you rape or brutalize somebody, it's a hate crime.
It's a new class system.
And look, let me ask you about Glenn Beck, because Glenn Beck is a fan of mine. Glenn Beck likes me. He's always been very complimentary. I just find him very disingenuous sometimes, although I think he's trying to do good things. He just cries a little too much for me. I'm more of a man. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No. Listen. Well, he's taking my shtick and then adding
you cry a lot?
And no. I was going to say, and then adding the lederhosen weasel behavior. I believe is a psyop to discredit the Patriot movement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, brother, that's a huge statement. So you think he's actually working against libertarianism and common sense, and you think he's actually
Look, all I know is I predicted 2 months before he did it that he would go show the Indiana train station, the thing we debunked in 1996, and that he would say that, okay, there's no FEMA camps because we went and showed you one of the fake ones out there. That's a straw man. When we sent Glenn Beck registered mail and had our listeners email him by the thousands, the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program, the Houston Chronicle, the New York Times, the government purchase orders, the congressional hearings on the FEMA camps, the bills introduced, and then he had popular whitewash, Hearst Publishing, yellow journalism captains on to say it didn't exist. And he said arrest Ron Paul supporters, use the army on them when Ron Paul had a chance to win. So I see him as a Benedict Arnold, yes.
But wait a minute. Then why is the left so against him? Why are they against him?
That's a controlled left-right paradigm, and there's certainly fissures in the structure. And
I'm confused.
Well, it's like a Don. Okay, are you confused by a Don King fight where both boxers are bought and paid for?
No, no. Look, I was remember Morton Downey Jr. I was his co-host his final year, and it was all fake. I've done over 100 episodes of Springer. Springer used to broadcast in the building where I do my radio show. And WWE, I saw Hulk Hogan in the Iron Sheik. I get it. I get it that the Republicans and the dummy craps are the same. The puppet master, the corporations, and the globalists. I get that.
Well, I'm just telling you, Glenn Beck knew concentration camps were real, Mancow. He knew they were real, and he was given the evidence, and I predicted what he would do. I said he's going to do this, and he did it. And I want to like Glenn Beck, okay? I'm not here to alienate people. I know his audience is my audience, so I'm defending him because I'm not going to let them use him. I don't think Limbaugh...
I'd like to punch him in the face. No, I just said that. I got nothing to say. I got nothing, Alex. I got nothing.
Do you think Glenn Beck prances around in a cooking apron and knits, because that's what that's okay if men are, he's that kind of guy, but is that what you're saying, Mancow?
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Alex, my head hurts. I'm saying that I think I tend to have real emotion on this program, and the people that call, I believe, are genuine. I assume that you're a sincere individual as well. I just find it a little bit disingenuous as a guy that's seen his TV show and had him on this radio show, and he's very complimentary of me. He's been nothing but nice to me, so I feel like a jerk. But I think he cries on cue, and it's a little ridiculous, and I think it's a little bit fake. And that's all I was saying.
No, he's meant to discredit the message. It's very simple to see, and to play the part of them censoring him. Now, Lou Dobbs is for real. Limbaugh is for real. Michael Savage are for real. I don't agree with some of what they say, but those guys are for real. Mancow, stay there.
What about me?
Mancow, I think for real, you're a maniac. No, and I think you are for real, a maniac. I don't think you're controlled opposition. No, I think you're controlled by your own wild, wild self. Stay there. I want to come back and talk about the satanic event you went to. Stay with us.
The New World Order beast is genetically modifying your food, mixing vegetables with animals, and now experimenting with viruses. Without a long-term food solution, you will have just two options: starve, or surrender. All canned food supplies will eventually run out. What then? Grow your own healthy food and feed your family forever. SurvivalistSeeds.com is now the nation's largest bulk heirloom seed company, and it's owned by a real patriot, Big John Lipscomb. You can now have an infinite amount of healthy vegetables like a watermelon, a bundle of carrots, or tomatoes for a little more than a penny each. SurvivalistSeeds.com. And now you can go into business with Big John at SurvivalistSeeds.com by becoming an affiliate. See his link at SurvivalistSeeds.com.
Website's Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. His website's Mancow.com. Now, Mancow says it's really happened to him, and I know about these parties in L.A., San Francisco. I know about them in San Diego. I know about them in England. It's now made national news. It's been in the San Francisco Chronicle. Blood drinking, crapping on stage. Mancow got invited to a party. They didn't tell him what it was. Big sex party in a warehouse. Mancow, tell folks about tell folks about what's going on.
Well, now I got to set this up just a little bit, okay? Let me just set this up. Comic-Con now is the place where everybody in Hollywood has to unveil their heirs. They have to show all the new stuff, and the who's who of Hollywood is there. And there were people, and I don't want to incriminate anybody because I think a lot of these big-time Hollywood people, and I'm talking about every name you know, I think they might have gotten suckered into it like me. So I don't want to cast negativity on them, although some of them looked like they were having a lot of fun. So I was invited to this party called the Sanguine Party, which is the color of blood. And I think I'm saying it right. Does that sound right? Sanguine? Is that the word?
Yes.
And the cab driver said, no, look, I'm from San Diego. This address doesn't exist. And I went out and we drove around and we couldn't find it. It took an hour. No, this is the address. I have a ticket. This is the... And there was a homeless guy outside and he goes, hey, you here for the party? What? You got to be kidding me. There's nothing around. I was led down a corridor. There was another corridor. There was different chambers I went through. And what I walked into was like something out of a horror movie. There were nuns, people dressed as nuns with their women had nuns, but with the outfits were cut so that their private areas were revealed. There was one guy who was a very feminine man who was kissing other men, and he was dressed as the Pope. And it was an unbelievable costume, and across it, across the hat, the word "dunce" was written. There were people biting each other until they bled. There was sex acts going on. There was lots of drugs. The lights were strobing, and it basically, to me, was very satanic. Now, I had a girl who looked very much like my wife. It's an unbelievable look. You know, this Jessica Alba type, long black hair. She had no top on, but little black panties with an angel's face and black leather chaps. And the black hair fell down in front of her, and she was trying to seduce me. And it was all very seductive and really a mockery of everything that was good and decent and wholesome. They were mocking God, mocking anything moral. It was a feverish orgy of.
You were at a hellfire club.
I don't know what it, Alex. For the life of me, I don't know, and I will tell you that I ran into a man who's one of my informants from the government who refers to himself as David X, and he investigates these things. And I didn't know he was there, and I still don't know what he looks like. But I left, and he called me, and he's an informant for me for the show, and he doesn't use his real name. And he said, "I'm glad you got out of there." I said, "Who are you? Who are you? How did you get my number?" And he's a guy with the government. He says, "That woman that was dancing towards you was a shifter." And I said, well, how did you see me? It was the darkness. That woman that was trying to seduce you, thank God you got out of there. She was a shifter. And I think about David Icke, who you've had on your show, I've had on my show. You know, there are some people believe that there are these people that are not what they seem. They look good, but underneath, pure evil. And you can just feel
this
it.
David X guy is probably one of these people running a psyop on you, Mancow.
Yeah.
That's all this Satanism is a bunch of psychiatry, psychology, witch doctor flim-flam. Witch doctors 5,000 years ago would give you an hallucinogen, you'd flip out, they'd tell you you're now my slave. It's just like, you know, in voodoo where they give people the zombie drug that makes them think they died. It's all just mind control crap.
Well, let me tell you something. I actually had someone get inside my dreams. I actually had someone that was able to place themselves in my dreams, and they were influencing my dreams. And I did some things to prevent that. I put a dampening field in my bedroom.